I came home and found my mother-in-law in my bedroom. She said, "This is my house now." I called a locksmith and changed everything. My wife picked her side and regretted it. I'm a 34-year-old male, a logistics manager, which is a fancy way of saying I spend my life making sure things move from point A to point B in an orderly fashion. I like systems. I like predictability. It's why I bought my house 7 years ago, a full 3 years before I met my wife, Brenda. It was my anchor, my one non-negotiable piece of order in a chaotic world. My name is on the deed. My money paid the down payment. My name is on the mortgage. This is a critical detail. Brenda's mother, Shirley, 62, has always been the antithesis of order. She's a force of nature, but not a pleasant one, more like a hurricane you're forced to board up the windows for every few months. For the 4 years Brenda and I were married, I saw the pattern. Shirley manufactured crises. There was the time she accidentally double-booked a vacation and needed me to pay for a last-minute flight. The time she co-signed on a car for a friend who defaulted, and Brenda drained our savings to stop her from being sued. Each time, I'd try to establish a boundary, and each time Brenda, her face etched with anxiety, would plead with me, "She'll fall apart if we don't help, Jonathan. It's just this once." It was never just once. 2 months ago, Shirley's landlord decided to sell her apartment. She had 60 days to move. Immediately, the campaign began. "I have nowhere to go," she'd weep to Brenda over the phone. "My own daughter is going to let me be homeless." I knew what was coming. A week later, Brenda sat me down. "We need to let her stay with us, just for a little while." I took a deep breath. This was it, the line in the sand. "No, Brenda," I said as gently but as firmly as I could. "We are not doing that. Your mother is a guest for an afternoon, not a roommate. It would destroy our marriage, and you know it." I then laid out a counteroffer. I would personally pay the deposit and first month's rent on a new apartment for her. I would even hire movers. It was a generous offer, a final offer. Brenda cried, but she eventually nodded. She said she understood. She said she would tell her mother. For the next few weeks, things were quiet. I thought the problem was solved. I was a fool. Last week, I had a mandatory 3-day work trip. I kissed Brenda goodbye on Tuesday morning. I finished my work ahead of schedule and, feeling a surge of relief, caught an earlier flight home on Thursday. I landed around noon, planning to surprise Brenda with lunch at her favorite spot. The moment I opened my front door, I knew the air was thick with a foreign floral perfume. She wore a stack of battered U-Haul boxes, scrolled with Shirley's kitchen stood sentinel in my hallway. My stomach turned to ice. I walked into the living room. Her gaudy, oversized armchair was crammed next to my sofa, and on my bookshelf, where I kept my collection of vintage sci-fi paperbacks, sat her army of porcelain dolls, their dead glass eyes judging me. My heart was a cold, heavy drum against my ribs as I went upstairs. The door to our bedroom, my bedroom, was wide open. Inside, 2 movers were struggling with a monstrously ornate headboard, and directing them with the imperious wave of a hand was Shirley. My bed, the one Brenda and I shared, was disassembled and propped against the far wall like an afterthought. She saw me, and a slow, triumphant smile spread across her face. It was the smile of someone who had just checkmated an opponent who didn't even know they were playing a game. "Jonathan, you're home early," she said. Her tone was benign, but her eyes were glinting. "Shirley," I said, my voice dangerously low. "What is this? Where is Brenda? Picking up lunch for us?" She said, turning back to the movers, "She won't be long now. Boys, let's get this centered. It needs to be the focal point of the room." The movers exchanged an uncomfortable glance. I stepped fully into the room. "Stop," I said to them. They froze. I turned to Shirley. "What are you doing in my bedroom?" She let out a theatrical sigh, the kind designed to paint me as an unhinged brute. "Jonathan, please don't make a scene. We can discuss this when Brenda is here." She agreed this was for the best. "The best?" "The best was the apartment I offered to rent for you. This is a home invasion." That's when she dropped the pretense. She stepped closer, her voice a low hiss. "Let me be clear. My daughter lives here, which makes this a family home. I am the matriarch. For her sake, I am taking my rightful place. This is my house now. You'll learn to live with it. This is my house now." The words hung in the air. The movers looked at their feet, at the ceiling, anywhere but at us. One of them cleared his throat. "Us, sir, ma'am, I think we're going to take a smoke break. Just let us know when you've got this sorted." They practically fled from the room. I didn't shout. I didn't argue. I finally saw the full picture. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was the endgame of Shirley's years-long campaign, and my wife had been her willing accomplice. I turned without another word, walked down the stairs, and out my front door. I sat in my car, the engine off, and watched the movers leaning against their trucks, smoking. I pulled out my phone. First call, a 24-hour locksmith. I scheduled a complete rekey of all exterior doors for 3 p.m. Second call, my brother, the paralegal. He listened, whistled low, and said, "Don't even breathe without talking to a divorce attorney. I'll send you a name." Third, a text to Brenda. "I'm home. Saw the new decorating. Your mother just informed me this is her house now." Her reply was instantaneous. "Jonathan, wait. Don't do anything. I can't explain. Mom's just being dramatic. You know how she is. I'm almost home. We can talk this out. You know how she is," the forward excuse for a lifetime of chaos. I waited. When her car pulled up, she got out with takeout bags, a forced, placating smile on her face. It vanished when she saw me sitting in my car. She tapped on the glass. I rolled down the window. What are you doing out here? Let's go inside. We can't talk on the street. Is your mother moving her things out of my house? I asked, my voice devoid of emotion. Her face crumpled. What was I supposed to do? She cried. She cried for days. She said she'd rather die than live in some sterile apartment by herself. She promised it would just be for a few months, just until she gets back on her feet. She needs the master bedroom because of her bad back. It was a compromise, Jonathan. A compromise you made with my life and my property without my consent. I'm going to a hotel. A locksmith is coming at 3 p.m. You and your mother have until then to vacate my house. You can take your things. Your mother can take hers. Leave my keys on the kitchen counter. Her expression hardened. The pleading was replaced by her mother's fury. You're ticking me out, your wife, over A. You can click on share and more to see if there is a part 2.